Most people flip houses and barely break even. I hit 7 figures a year by doing these 5 things differently. These are the millionaire secrets that no guru taught me that I'm gonna share with you in this video. Between deal flow all the way to money mindset, these lessons separate part-time flippers from full-time wealth builders and business builders. So flipping didn't actually make me rich. Thinking like an investor did. The first secret is I had a wealth mindset over paychecks. Some things that I did that are probably different than everybody else is I tracked my net worth every single month. Not just the flip profits I was making or what I was making in the stock market, I actually tracked my net worth. And not only that, every single month, if my net worth went up or down or stayed the same, I had a note section. And in that note section, I wrote why. What did I do that month that made my net worth go up? And what did the market do that made it go up? A lot of times when I had rental properties, the market just went up. Or the stock market went down and it actually dragged my net worth down. And then what I could do is look back over the past year and see, oh my gosh, the stock market is actually hurting me and my real estate business is massively growing my net worth. So if you're not tracking your net worth, that's the first thing that you have to do. In the description, I'm gonna drop a link where you can actually get my net worth tracker. It's very basic, very easy to use, simple Excel sheet, but if you download that, it'll help you get started, and I'll give you some examples of my notes and things that I did in there. So right in the description, you can get it totally free. The next thing that I did was I reinvested my profits back into the business. A lot of people, they inflate their lifestyle when they start making money. I didn't buy fancy watches, cars, airplanes, all that stuff, right? I lived exactly like I was living. I lived in a very modest house. I lived way below my means. Some people might call me a little cheap. You don't have to be super cheap like me, but I was reinvesting my profits back into my business. And what that did is it allowed it to grow. And I had a full-time job. I didn't quit my full-time job right away like a lot of people do. They flip 1 or 2 houses and they quit their full-time job, and then they have to suck money out of their business. I loved flying airplanes for the Navy, kept my job, kept building my business, and I didn't quit my job until I was doing over 100 deals a year. And even then, I started flying part-time for the Navy because I loved it. So reinvested back into my business. The next piece of this wealth mindset is building passive buckets of income early. So part of reinvesting back in my business, I also bought some rentals. I was burring them. I would buy, fix them up, renovate, rent, refinance, and then repeat. So I did a couple of those to kind of build my passive buckets. So shifting my wealth mindset from the stock market over to real estate, flipping houses, taking some of that money, investing back in my business. If I got a really good deal, take one off the conveyor belt and buy a rental. All right, secret number 2. I built a deal machine, not a one-off hustle. And what that means is I built lead funnels. I was doing direct mail marketing. I was networking with agents. I was making offers off the MLS. I was networking with wholesalers. I was actually building a funnel. Like, making offers is the name of the game. If you're not making offers, you don't have a business. You should be making 10 or more offers every single week. If you're making 20 or 30 offers a week, you have a real business. If you didn't make an offer this week, or you made 1 or 2 here and there, 0 last week, 2 this week, you're never gonna have a business. You gotta make a lot of offers and get some deal flow. So build that lead funnel, whether it's MLS offers, networking with agents, working with wholesalers, doing your own marketing. I have tons of videos on here. You can go to those videos and check them out. The next piece is I tracked my KPIs weekly and even daily sometimes. Daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually. KPIs are key performance indicators. I would track my leads, my offers, how many offers were accepted, how many fell out of contract, how many pieces of mail we were sending, what kind of online advertising we were doing, how much money we were spending on marketing. I still remember when I got started the first year, for every $1 I spent on direct mail, I would make $7 back. That's the only KPI at the time I needed. And then I added pay-per-click. For every $1 I spent on marketing, I've made $15 back. That is a good business. I think we can all agree. Let me know in the comments if you think that is a solid business. Also, let me know in the comments what KPI on dollar into marketing to dollar out you would be comfortable accepting in your business, because that's a big thing. That's the number 1 KPI to focus on, is marketing dollars out to marketing dollars in. Like how much revenue is coming in. The other thing is I treated my deals and really like what I was doing as a business, not a side gig. A lot of people are like, I'm just doing this on the side. This is my side hustle. I hear that a lot. And that's fine. It was my side hustle too until it wasn't. But I focused and made it look like a business. Like I wanted this to be a business. That means I treat it like a business. It's not just I feel like doing something today or I don't feel like doing something today. Every day I had time set aside, dialed in. Millionaires treat their side hustle like a real business, okay? Even when it's small. When I was doing one house a year, I was treating it like a real business. And when I was doing 67, 135, 187, of course I was treating it like a business. But that's what you have to do. You have to really look at it like a business, even if it's just you. All the other people you're working with are contractors of yours. They're really kind of like employees, like your title company, your general contractor, your subcontractors. All of those people work with you inside of your business. So even if it's just you, treat it like a business. That's what millionaires do, and that's what you need to do too. All right, you got deals coming in now. You set everything up. Now let's talk about how pros protect their profit. This is really important. Seven-figure flippers don't swing hammers, they build systems. The next piece is you've got to manage the margin. So secret number 3, you've got to manage the margin. It's very easy for cost to creep in and kill your deals. What I mean by that is scope creep. How many times have you been fixing up a house and you're like, oh yeah, let's do this and let's take down that wall and let's add this beautiful backsplash, or we got to have really great quartz countertops in an area that has Formica, right? This is constant. We're over renovating, scope creep, and then change orders as well. So contractors are going to send change orders. You're going to have these other issues, things that come up. And then timeline. How many times have you gone over timeline? When you go over timeline, all of your other costs creep in, like holding cost, cost of money, all of those things. So the key is you've got to line item your rehab budget. Okay, and then add maybe 10 or 15% buffer in there, but line item your rehab budget, have it very dialed in with your contractor, and have a actual scope of work that they are going through line by line by line. There's no question. The problem is when you don't set the expectation up front, that's where these change orders come in. They're like, oh, I didn't include that. Oh, you want this? You want a lock that you can actually type in codes for, like digital lock? Oh, that's gonna be an extra $500. You want us to put this in? That's gonna be more. You've gotta scope that out and set it up and set the expectation up front. I see a lot of flippers that are overpricing their ARV, their after repair values. They're listing and trying to set a comp on every single house they flip. This is a big problem. Professionals are gonna set their exit price conservatively. I like to list at about 95 to maybe 98% of the ARV, or I like to list at ARV and my house is a little bit nicer. I do like 1 or 2 extra upgrades than all the other houses in the neighborhood, because you know that they're going to that, they're gonna look at my house and they're gonna look at 3 other houses on that same day in the same neighborhood. And if my house is priced the same and a little bit nicer, or it looks similar or a little bit nicer and it's priced slightly less, mine's gonna move off the shelf faster than everybody else's. And time kills profit. You wanna get that thing off the shelf, off the inventory, sell it, get your profit and move on to the next one. That's the key. Do not sit on inventory too long. I think that's a big problem that non-professional flippers do that now that you watch this video, you're not gonna do, right? All right, secret number 4, build a team before you need one. Most people are like waiting until they have a ton of money in the bank to go build a team. And I don't mean you need to hire full-time people and have a full-time team. I'm talking about a general contractor, a great realtor, a bookkeeper. This is a thing that a lot of people overlook. Private lenders, getting private money, a great title company, a great attorney. Those are people that are extensions of you. So a general contractor doesn't cost you money. A realtor doesn't cost you money. A bookkeeper, they might be like part-time for you, so they might cost a little bit, but the return's gonna be massive. Private lenders definitely don't cost you money. They are very, very valuable. The title company doesn't cost you money. You're paying for these things anyway, so you should be sourcing them just like you would a full-time employee. You wanna underwrite them, you wanna interview them, you wanna ask them questions, you wanna get referrals and recommendations and things like that. You wanna call their references. You wanna make sure that they're gonna be great team members. And the next thing that millionaires do is $10 an hour versus $100 an hour versus $1,000 an hour tasks. When I just started, I was doing so many $10 an hour tasks. Like, it was so dumb. I was putting lock boxes on houses. I was setting up utilities. I was doing things that I absolutely shouldn't have been doing. You gotta outsource those tasks. I needed to work on $100, $200, $300 an hour tasks while I hire somebody else to do the $12 an hour tasks. I could pay somebody $10 an hour to work and set up utilities and drive around to pick things up from Home Depot. I was actually going to Home Depot and Lowe's and ordering things for my contractor. My contractor can go there, they can text me and say, hey, your contractor's here to pick this thing up. Can he buy it on your card? I'm like, yes, buy it. I never had to go to Home Depot again after I realized this. You've got to outsource these tasks, figure out what your time's worth as the business owner and what it should be worth. So if your time is $50 an hour, but you could be doing $100 an hour plus tasks, by hiring somebody for $10 an hour to not drag down your hourly rate, hire that person, offload those things, delegate that stuff. That's gonna make you so much more money, and it's gonna give you a lot of freedom. You can either get your time back or you can make a lot more cash. Now, when you have some people on your team, a big part is like weekly huddles and accountability. You're gonna want, like I talked about before, set some of those key performance indicators for them as well, and then sit them down each week and look at how things are going. Hold them accountable, set those things up, and have those meetings. It could be a morning meeting, just a 5-minute pop-up meeting together. Could be once a week. You can structure your meeting pulse, but you've gotta put a little bit of time into those folks so that they know what they should be focused on and you're holding them accountable. All right, now you're making money. How do you multiply it and, better than that, actually keep it? My wealth came from flipping and wholesaling and running that business, but my wealth came from knowing how to keep it and how to build a proper wealth engine. So I used my flipping business to fund these wealth engines for me. I used the profits that I was making from my flipping and wholesaling business to buy rental properties. I started lending private money. I then started investing in apartments and multifamily as a limited partner. So I started investing in syndications because I had big tax bills. You might be doing some things like 1031 exchanges if you're buying rental properties or apartment buildings and you want to offset those taxes so you get some long-term gains. 1031 is the ability to kind of kick the can down the road on the tax structure when you sell something and you exchange into something else. You could diversify like I did. I diversified into multifamily. As a limited partner, I was able to invest cash that I was making from my active real estate business and give it to somebody else to invest in an apartment deal that they ran and managed, and I was making money while I was sleeping and they were working. It was amazing. The lending business is a real business. Like, you actually have to focus on it. It's not simple, but I was lending money. I still am. And so I highly recommend now you can kind of diversify through the real estate ecosystem, but you don't have to build these massive active businesses. These things can be passive for you. All right, there's my 5 secrets of how I made millions of dollars flipping houses and how you can too. If you want to learn more secrets like this about investing in real estate, flipping, wholesaling, achieving financial freedom that are not being taught in school or anywhere else, make sure you subscribe and don't miss my next few videos.